and welcome to the Advanced Robinhood Stock Traders Facebook group. I've learned a lot here. These are the best. They're the best of the best. That's the easiest way to say it. They are the future millionaires. They are they've ascended beyond regular Robinhood traders. They've pushed further. Okay, they're an entirely different breed with IQs above 300. Everything they say. It's okay. For example, right? They see they're able to catch these stocks that go up 100, 200%. It's insane. What's more insane is, well, I'll show you. I was scrolling through it, trying to find investment ideas. The next 100%, 1,000% return penny stock. And I stopped and looked at this. So let me go ahead and read it out for you. Let me just delete my face here. There we go. All right. So Nick says a lot of people use margin loans and leverage right from the start, even when they're not profitable. That's not how you do it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You're most likely going to blow up your account by taking on debt when you have zero experience. Very true. Only only when you have massive confidence in your strategy should you use 100 100x leverage. Start off with only 10x, then increase. Don't just start with 100x. Leverage is meant to help you grow your business. Once you have a business, remember this. To your success, Nick. Okay, now just hold on for a second, Nick. Okay, just slow your roll. You had some good points, but towards the end you kind of lost me. And here's what I mean. First off, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And I will show you three graphs that kind of show you this. The first one is this one that I just pulled off the internet real quick. So he actually relates using leverage to businesses, and businesses 100% use leverage. You're kind of silly not to. So you can use a model called the Kelly criterion, and this just kind of graphs it out for you. And this just says that, hey, once you get past, there's an optimal point for leverage, and then past that, it's not worth the risk taking it, okay? So in this case, the optimal leverage is 1.8, right? Whatever the number is, it's obviously going to change based on the business. When it relates to stock, it's going to depend on whether you're trading stocks, whether you're trading options, because options are more volatile. It's going to rely on a lot, but this one graph relates to specifically just a normal business and how, going over 2x leverage is not only logical, but is guaranteed to lose in the long term. And I'll show you what I mean. We'll go to this page right here. That if your portfolio loses a certain value, for you to get back to where you were becomes exponentially harder the bigger the drop in your portfolio. What that means is if my portfolio drops 10%, I need to make 1.01% return to get back to where I was. Okay. Now, you see it grows exponentially. So if my portfolio drops 50%, I now have to double my money. I have to 2x my money. Okay. If it drops 60%, I now have to 2.5x my money. All right. At 70, I have to 3.2x my money, and it just gets larger and larger and larger. Now the second graph kind of ties this all together right here. And this is one of my favorite charts slash studies right here. Oh my gosh, it's huge. It's not going to fit on the page. All right. And I guess I'll cut that off. What this is saying is using, this doesn't necessarily have to do with leverage, but this is just your bet size, right? So if you have a $100 account, this is saying a bet size of 1% is going to be $1, 2% is $2, and so on. That is how much you're risking per trade. That's not how much you're putting into a trade. That's not how much you're buying the stock. That's how much risk you're willing to take. All right? What this is saying is you want to stay between 1 to 2%. And it's also assuming you have an edge. So this is a 52-48 edge. Just trading stocks is 50-50 in the short term, as we know. So first off, it wouldn't make sense to just day trade stocks anyway. It's not profitable. But if you do have some sort of edge, maybe you use some sort of indicator, which is crazy, or whatever you do, and you're able to find some sort of statistical edge, mathematically you should only risk one, we'll say 4%, never going over 8% per trade. Okay, and this is the problem with a lot of these smaller penny stocks or options where you can find an edge, is that there's not going to be enough liquidity to get to these bet sizes. So we also see is there's a blue and a green line, and at the end they weren't even profitable. Okay, those are 15 and 25% bet sizes. So that's like taking a $100 account and throwing $25 at something. Not only is the risk not worth it, but it's a guaranteed that your account is going to go to zero. Now, it might take a while if you're betting 10 to 15%. These is over 1,000 occurrences. It took 500 occurrences for it to finally hit zero. But you're just not profitable. Even if you used only 8%, notice how at the end, it still lags behind even risking 1%. So that goes back to the other graph right here, where, you know, it's not, might seem like it makes sense, but it's not logical. It's fifth grade math. It's not hard. So you can take the time to understand financial instruments, and you can take all this time to try to understand it, but when you ignore simple math, it's not really a question of what stock do I pick, do I buy it, do I short it, what option strategy do I use. None of that matters if you're just going to ignore basic math of making big numbers into bigger numbers, ignoring compounding interest and just shooting leverage everywhere. Which, back to that point, 100x leverage is insane. Okay, the graph that we were looking at shows anything above 2x is insane. Okay, if you are 100x leveraged, you lose your initial investment if whatever you invested in loses 1% of its value. Okay, obviously if it goes up 1%, you're going to double your initial investment, but the risk you took to get there, mathematically, again, makes 0 sense. So when we go back to this, we see just how ridiculous 100x leverage, even 10x leverage is ridiculous. If what you invested in drops 10%, ruined my video. Yeah, Jeffrey, explain please. I'm doing it right now, but you're ruining it. Please stop. Please exit. Okay, there we go. Even 10x, if whatever you invest in loses 10% of its value, you've lost your initial investment and your account goes to zero. Not only that, but you're also risking the chance of going in debt to your broker if you don't have the right risk management in place, being a gap up or gap down, depending on which side of the trade you're on. And from the past few days scrolling through here, a lot of the stock that the advanced Robinhood traders use are scam penny stocks, which gap up and down quite a lot. So 10x leverage, 100x leverage. The moderator of the advanced Robinhood stock traders. It sounds cool, but before you start trading, you need to ask yourself, am I smarter